Huge story in the Washington Post. New poll finds 9 in 10 Native Americans aren't offended by Redskins' name. I call it a huge story because the Washington Post literally put a team of 8 reporters on the story, and also because the Post commissioned a large survey of over 500 American Indians, which required them to call many thousands of people first to find a large enough sample size. Obviously, it's important to a lot of Washington Post readers. The Washington Redskins is their NFL team, but it's also a political issue in Washington with attempts to ban the name, strip the trademark in the name, run them out of town, etc. What's so fascinating is this poll shows that real Indians don't care. It's white, liberal, virtue signaling concern trolls who say they care, at least they pretend to, when they're showboating for the media. Here are 2 more questions from the Washington Post poll. In general, do you feel the word redskin is disrespectful of Native Americans or not? 73% of American Indians say no. And then this one. If a non-Native American person called you a redskin, would you be personally offended or not? 80% say no. Now, I should tell you, I would never call an Indian, as they're called in the States, or Aboriginal person, I would never call an Indian a redskin. That's an archaic word that today sounds racist. To me, it literally describes someone by their skin color. That's racist. But the vast majority of Indians in the United States say they don't mind. And I think the reason is obvious, because that word is not being used today by the NFL in the hurtful or hateful way that word was often used in the past. Now it's being used as a symbol of strength and pride by an NFL team. No one names their NFL team after something weak or dishonorable. Teams have proud names like the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears. No one calls it the Chicago Mice. The Minnesota Vikings, New England Patriots, not the New England Traitors. People choose names that evoke power and pride. It's obvious that the name Redskin was meant to evoke characteristics like strength and dignity and a historical connection. No one would call their team something unpowerful or unappealing. I say again, the word Redskins is archaic, and it sounds rough. I think it's racist in its essence, but that is not how the NFL is using it. There are plenty of Indian names in sports, all used in a powerful, proud, positive way. There's another NFL team, the Kansas City Chiefs. And in baseball, there's the Cleveland Indians and the Atlanta Braves. Every Indian I know wears Indian-themed clothing. Here's Patrick Brazeau, the proud Canadian Indian senator, wearing a Redskins hat. If they were a team called the Toronto Jews, I think I'd wear all their gear. It would be a flattering way. Flattering that a team that wants to win wants to be associated in a positive way with your own tribe. And even if they had a more dated or even pejorative name, the Toronto Hebes, let's say, well, if they meant it in a non-negative way, if they were pumping $100 million a year into positive PR for the brand, you know what? Jews have worse things in the world to worry about, real problems, rather than some sports team that's not phrasing things just quite right. I'd go to a sports game for the Toronto Jews or the Toronto Hebes. Sure, I would. I love the fact that the team owner of the Redskins, Dan Schneider, often invites senior U.S. Indian leaders to sit with him in the luxury suite to watch the games. Of course they accept. It's fun. It's football. And they can see for themselves tens of thousands of people cheering for the Redskins. It's not mean, it's fun. Or it's supposed to be, except for white liberals. I have no doubt if that team were started today instead of in the 1930s, it would have a better phrased name than the Redskins. It would probably be something so inoffensive to anyone, they'd probably even choose a name like the Raptors, because dinosaurs don't have a special interest lobby group yet. But this Washington Post poll shows the people who are supposed to be upset just aren't. Or as this Washington Post graphic today puts it, quoting Randy Whitworth from the Flathead Indian Reservation in Montana, let's start taking care of our people and quit worrying about names like Washington Redskins. I think that's right. You know, you can call them Indians, you can call them First Nations, Aboriginal people, you can call them Sir. But if you don't actually care about the real well-being of Indians, economic development, employment, well, all you're huffing and puffing about a sport team name, if that's your main Aboriginal issue, isn't it proof that you don't actually care about the people? For the Rebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant. Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.